for the city of Natchez order. I will ask everyone if you would, if you're able, please stand for our prayer, to be followed by our pledge. And tonight, I'm going to give the prayer. I'm looking at Devin. He probably was expecting me. It's my turn though, Devin. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for the beautiful day you've given us. In spite of the heat, Lord, we still see just so much beauty in our world. And Father, we don't take a single day for granted. Father, let us be a people who are quick to praise rather than quick to complain, and to understand that each and every day you have us in the palm of your hand. We do, though, pray, O Lord, for our first responders, those who are working public works, crew members, those who are working in these hot temperatures, that you would take care of them. Be with our citizens, be with our elderly, be with those, O Lord, who are suffering in this heat. And we do ask you, O Lord, to bring relief soon. Lord, in your time, we need rain and we need cooler temperatures. Father, thank you now that we can come together as a board, as a mayor, to make decisions on behalf of our city. And we ask you to guide us tonight in this meeting so that all that we do would be pleasing to you, giving you all of the glory, honor, and praise. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Let us now salute and pledge our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. We'll ask the clerk to administer the roll call.
Alderwoman Hall.
Here.
Alderman Frazier.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith. Alderwoman Smith. Alderwoman Irving.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman Maroney.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will then proceed to approval of minutes. Madam Clerk.
Okay, have one set of minutes requesting approval pending the attorney's review. And that is for the regular meeting held on July 25th, 2023.
What's the pleasure of the board? Second. Motion made by Alderwoman Hall and seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
There are just some few minor changes need to be added. I did note it, so I can share those with you before we leave this evening.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. What are they in? Are they anything of substance or
Well,
grammatical?
all of it's, no, it's not really, it's just more detailed information. When you look at public properties, they just put the addresses. We need to know whether it's overgrowth or grass or that. It should be a little more detailed. It has the address. I don't want to call the person name because they was here for the hearing, but it needs to have more descriptive information about the property.
All right. Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Alderwoman. Any further discussion? We'll call for the question. Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, we don't have a public hearing tonight. We don't have any visitors on the agenda tonight. We'll move down. Also, I wanted to say on other business, we are not going to be discussing a grant proposal for the Natchez U.S. Colored Troops Monument, being that the grant that we've been looking at is really more as a civil rights grant, and it applies more to historic properties and renovation of historic properties more than the creation of a new property, here in Natchez, which is what the monument would be. So we're looking into other grants. The most that we would be able to apply for in this situation under this grant for this particular project is $75,000. But the civil rights grant actually allows up to $750,000 for other qualifying projects. And so we are looking at other qualifying projects. And just so you know, we'll have a report soon, but we had a meeting today to see if perhaps the Angeletti House could qualify for that civil rights grant. And that would be a better use of that application, because that might open up a lot more funds than just the limited $75,000 that would be available for the U.S. Colored Troops Monument. So I just wanted to make that announcement. Yes, Alderwoman Irving?
Since you brought up the Angelated House, I do just want to ask a question. Would that be an exception to the grant that we're gonna apply for?
It will be in addition to.
In addition, okay,
Mhm.
all right,
It would
thank
be
you.
in addition to it. We are trying our best to, get that building, renovated. And the grant that we're applying for through Archives and History is actually enough money to do about 1/3 of the project,
Mhm.
the exterior, but
Right.
we need more funds. And the Civil Rights Grant could provide those other funds. Now, I'm not making any guarantees yet, because we just started looking into this today.
Mhm.
And but that grant deadline being in October is timely, and we'll see what the future holds. I was just reminded, by the way, thank you. We don't have this on the agenda, but in my mayor's report, I have miscellaneous updates. One of those updates is going to be to give you an update on our health insurance. Well, we have better than an update on the health insurance. We actually are ready to accept our insurance rates for the new year. And so our agent is here, our consultant, Mr. Fred Parker from the Byrne Insurance Agency. And so I would like to ask the board for a motion to suspend our rules to allow our agent to present an update on health insurance. Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
Do we have any documentation with anything?
We're about to,
Okay,
I
all right.
believe.
Okay.
We'll have all of that
Okay.
made available. So any, can we call for the question?
Yes.
All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. All right. Well, we're glad to see you, Mr. Parker. We recognize you.
Good evening.
First of all, I'd like to note a couple of things on the dental insurance. The dental insurance rates, and can you all hear me? Do I speak into this? I'm not-
Yes, speaking to the mic.
Okay. Are going up, $3.50 per employee, $7.95 for an employee plus one dependent, and $11.72 for family coverage. And one of the reasons I wanted to see y'all tonight, one of the reasons is no one likes increases, but I had this company send me an Excel spreadsheet. This particular plan, once you've been in it 2 years, employees get a rollover amount if they've had their cleanings. So about almost 50 employees get an additional $400 in benefit in addition to the $2,000.
Right.
And I sent Mrs. Thiessen that Excel spreadsheet. So she has a list of who qualifies. And before I tried to rush and requote this, I thought I would give the board the opportunity to see if you wanted to go ahead with this increase and give the ones that have the opportunity to have more benefit the following year, that they can keep that bigger benefit rather than bump everybody back for the following year to where we were before.
It's about a 10% increase, and the dental is not paid for by the city, is paid for by the employee.
Correct.
And the employees that choose to have that insurance, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
But before I just willy-nilly went any further, I wanted to see that spreadsheet. If there were just 2 or 3 employees with a rollover, I'd have another quote by now, but there's almost 50 employees that have a higher benefit if we stay with this plan. So I wanted to put that before the
Okay.
board to see if we should keep this or should I see if we can get another quote.
What was the pleasure of the board? I'll just
Oh,
ask. I'm looking for a motion, really.
Before we get a motion,
Yes,
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Fraser.
before we start talking about increasing these premiums, I don't have insurance with the city, so, but my concern is that the employees are constantly complaining about every time they get a pay raise, the insurance go up. And that's my biggest concern. And and to sit here and say, hey, we're gonna go and increase insurance, I think that we should let the employees or somebody have a little say so on on what's going on with
Can
this
I give some
insurance.
good news? We should start with the good news. You hit them with the bad news first. And that's really not bad news. You know, $3
It's
a month.
bad news when you're coming out your
Can I
pocket.
say that
Yeah.
for the
Hold
third
on, Mr.
year
Mayor, hold on.
in a row?
Hold on, Mr. Mayor, I had to flow.
Yeah.
It's bad news when you're coming out their pocket because I done been in this situation with these guys in the city, and I've worked for the city 30 some years. And it's like I say, we're trying to keep people's on payroll and stuff. But as I say, when you're out here working, these guys out here working say, well, we done got a little pay raise, and we're trying to give everybody a pay raise,
Yes.
and here we come raising insurance.
Let me say this. For the third year in a row, our actual health insurance rates are going to stay the same.
Yeah.
We're doing very well. Also, the city provides a $15,000 benefit to our employees.
Yes,
And
that's
for a modest, and the city pays for that, for a modest amount more that the city would pay, we have an opportunity to increase that benefit from 15,000 to 25,000. Perhaps we should have led with that instead of the dental.
That's why.
But the optional dental insurance, you know, the dental rates are going up. He could shop it, perhaps find something a few dollars cheaper, but a good many employees would then lose that additional 400 they built up in coverage for dental procedures. And I'm not sure that that's something we need
Mr.
to
Mayor,
do.
can we go back to a motion?
Fred, we still having discussion. Fred.
Alderwoman Hall, I'm
I
just
thought you had
going
asked for a motion.
Yeah, but-
Alderman Frazier
Yes,
had
but I
a
still
good
had to
point.
flow. I still had to
He's
flow.
made a presentation. Before we have a motion,
Yes.
we'll have a little more discussion. So
Fred,
people can ask questions.
Like say, Fred, we're talking about them. Is there gonna be an increase in the overall insurance? And how many people do we have on insurance that is, I would like to say that is a major, like some people have real health problems, and that causes our insurance to go up. How many people do we have? Do you know right off?
In terms of.
Like say we have an employee who's on our health insurance who had to go to dialysis or have a problem like that. I mean, because that brings, when we got insurance like that,
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
that bring our insurance go up.
Well, here's the good news is that for the third-party administrator cost, that stays the same. The gap plan stays the same. The projected cost for the reinsurance is about staying right at the same. So it's amazing that 3 years in a row, your fixed cost for your health insurance has been static. And that's pretty amazing.
I will say this, the city has now realized well over $1 million in savings on health insurance since we changed this insurance just 3 years ago. There's well over $1 million in savings. We have, as a result, accrued surpluses that put the city in a great position should we have any in this next year, any claims that exceed the limits in the insurance. That is always a risk. And that's why when you're dealing with reinsurance, you want to have, first of all, a very good understanding that you're going to fund it properly. Every year you're going to budget enough so that if you have any overages, you have already budgeted to cover those overages. And so I think it's a very good report that in 3 years, we have not exceeded the budget. We've stayed online. The city has been providing affordable insurance to our employees. Also, we have received, I can think of hardly a complaint I've received except for one over the last 3 years. And I believe that one was taken care of. So I think the overall news for insurance, we have employers in this city who have expressed to us that their insurance plans have gone up anywhere from 50 to 60%. And yet in 3 years, ours has remained the same. But we do have about a $3 increase for an individual dental, up to about a $10, $11 increase for the family. And is that increase worth changing insurance and robbing a lot of people of an increased benefit now their benefit would go from 2,400 back to 2,000. I would say no. And so I would encourage a motion at this time that would accept the recommendation of the consultant with regards to the changed rates in dental and other rates remaining the same, with instructions to the city clerk to continue budgeting correctly for any possible overages that may occur in the self-insured plan.
So moved.
All right, Alderwoman Hall has made the motion, seconded by Alderman Maroney. Discussion,
Okay.
Alderwoman Irving.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to ask, and I do understand what you're saying because that was just explained to me with the same carrier. That was just explained to me with the same carrier, but I do want to ask, so you're saying that this, with us increasing the amount, we went from 2,000 to 2,400 for the year. Okay. So if we did not, then it would be 1,000. Is that what you
No,
said?
back to
Back to, okay, back to
And-
2,000, so $450.
And
Okay.
may I say, that isn't on everybody. I had them send me a report knowing that some people would have rollover amounts.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw it's almost 50 people, that's when I thought I would bring this before each of you
Okay.
before I made a decision and just willy-nilly said, hey, we can get something about the same.
Okay. And then my next question is, and you probably wouldn't know, but Megan, would you know how many people did we have enrolled?
That it fluctuates. I mean, with the employment census, we typically kind of a good average number is 220 employees.
Okay.
So kind of give you an idea.
Okay. All right.
Fred, I
Thank
have
you.
another question.
Yes, sir.
Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
When do the insurance, when this expire?
September 3rd.
September 3rd. So you got to get it in before September the 3rd.
Yes, and may I interject one other thing? This is decent, like every other group health plan, you have to schedule your open enrollment about a month before, so that when the employees go choose what if they want a cancer plan or disability or whatever, that gives payroll time to process all that and for it to come out of the checks properly. And this is due to, I think, some construction. Mrs. Dixon had to find us just a good weekend and a place to have the open enrollment. So that's the 8th and 9th of September. And that's something that you have to bear in mind when you're looking at this.
And that's why we want to go ahead and bring it up tonight.
I'm just concerned because, like I say, we're just not getting this, and I just got this today. We getting ready to do our budget for the upcoming year, and look like this just a rush onto us. And if I thought, and it should, like I say, this should have came last month sometime, but you know, I don't
have the
know.
numbers at that point.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion? I'll call for the question. Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
1 nay. Motion carries. Thank you so much, Mr. Parker. We have a special presentation just brought in to me by the clerk. I'm glad to see someone. I hardly recognize him when he's not in uniform. All right. Y'all, I've enjoyed getting to know this gentleman, Officer Brian Safer. He has been with
Cyphers. Cyphers.
And I've been calling you all. Come on up here. We're so grateful for you. We are. Christopher Brian Cyphers. Brian has been with the city, according to our record, 22 years. And just retired last month. And we wanted him to come and receive, an award on behalf of the city, and just to know that we appreciate Officer Cypher on many occasions put himself in harm's way for the rest of us. And that does not go lightly, unnoticed on the battlefield. I think it was a very tough decision for him to finally, decide it was time. And how are you doing? Oh, doing all right. You're not having any regrets. This new chapter so far is good. Well, and I know you have your family here. We're just honored to have you still as an Activision friend. I'll invite anyone who'd like to come and join me. And also, I'm looking to see, I believe Chief is here, if Chief Rainey will come. And Officer Cypher, if you'd like to offer any comments about all the years of service here.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you. Let me say this. Me and Brian, we go back in my days when I was coaching from, we had some turbulent times, ups and downs. But I always did the job, I always did. Like I say, when you do your job, you always got somebody complaining. Me and him both, we had a lot of complaints, but we weathered the storm. You see where it gets. Enjoy yourself.
Yes, sir.
I also work with Brian. I don't know how he worked all these years nights. For years. I don't know how he did. I don't know.
Just I just want to say I've known Seth for a number of years and always community police down community. Lots of people know you, and everybody know you from the dog. So I just want to say thank you for your years of service and dedication to your commitment to the city of Danvers, and that we love you. And God bless. We love you.
Chief, did you want to say a word?
Well, we had ours the other day. We're planning to do so. He did say that he'd come back and be a part-time, field training officer for these guys, because, I think our new guys need that experience to train them. You can always.
Congratulations.
Thank you once again. And we want to thank the family that supported you, because without the family, I don't know what we all would like.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, before we get,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brian, you didn't get a shadow box?
No, sir, not yet. On the way.
Okay.
All right, we will now recognize James Johnston, our Director of Community Development, for his report. Good evening.
I provided you with a draft report in your packet and an updated one at your desk this evening. First item, 2023 EPA Brownfield Cleanup Grant presented by the EPA. Staff is requesting permission to attend a mandatory new grantee workshop in Pelham, Alabama, Wednesday, September 20th through Friday, September 23rd. Travel provided and eligible by the cleanup grant.
Pleasure.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall and seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion. Call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying
Aye.
all opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
In addition, as a requirement of the above referenced federal grant, grantees must comply and have adopted a grievance policy that assures prompt and fair resolution of complaints that allege violation of 40 CFR Parts 5 and 7, A draft was provided in your packet and another one at your desk this evening. Staff is requesting a motion to adopt the provided grievance policy and make it part of the city's existing personnel policies and the new policies currently under review.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded. Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Maroney. Discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Yes,
Mayor.
Alderwoman Irving.
Okay, so we set a grievance policy. And so recently we held off with the approval of the handbook. And so wouldn't it be a part of that? And what other discussion has been held in reference to the handbook policy? Would this be the same thing? Because
Don't.
It will go in it, yes, ma'am.
okay,
And this
so,
is based on grievances not of public, of city employees, but more so of the general public. That was the mistake a lot of new awardees are finding in having theirs reviewed by the EPA. And I've been communicating with EPA and Mr. Callaway as well to try and draft an acceptable policy.
so do we have a copy of that policy?
It's right there.
I mean, other than this,
Well, that is the policy.
it's just this.
No.
The one page.
Oh, so we're just getting it. Okay.
No, you
This is-
received the draft the other day.
Which-
Changes
okay, I didn't see
are-
this in mine.
The changes are in red that were changed from the draft policy.
I only read-
You had a draft that was paper clipped the other day.
Yeah, this is what's really, it's provided to us through the EPA.
I didn't get, it wasn't in my packet.
I don't distribute any.
I understand, but I was just saying I didn't see, and that's the reason why I'm saying that.
All right, any further questions?
He
Yeah.
said it wasn't in his either, so,
Okay.
We didn't get.
Apologies, I mean, it was supposed to be in there.
All right, it's there. But may I just say, this is an EPA requirement. The grievance policy is according to EPA standards. And I don't think we're here to draft a new grievance policy. It's,
This, I mean, we
This
did
is-
glean this from online.
this is the EPA. Yes, Alderman Frazier.
So this grievance policy, it applies to any, in the public. So,
The public.
so all they need to do is come to Ms. D's office and file a
If there
complaint,
is if there's an alleged
It's-
complaint,
a legal complaint. Yeah,
complaint.
yes, okay.
And this is as it relates to the work that will be.
It's for, I mean, it's, it's a federally funded program, but they're requiring this, for us to move forward with our draft work plan.
Right.
I think, you're going to see more and more federal awards have these requirements.
Makes sense. I'll call for the question. Second, well, the question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Demolition of adjudicated properties. Staff, in conjunction with building official Jody Ryder, received quote bid for the demo of adjudicated properties at 10:00 a.m. on Thursday, August 17th. A summary of the quote bid is below. You see, we received quote bid from 3 vendors on 5 properties. And you see who the low bidder was. Thompson Tree and Sprang Service LLC, a low bid of $26,622. Pleasure of the board.
Pleasure of the board. Okay, a motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
These are the 3 lowest bid, correct?
These are the 3 bids received. Yes, sir.
Okay, but I do have a problem with one of these people's on here, one of the lowest bidders. I can't legally vote on this with a clear conscience simply because of reason. Anytime you've been sued anytime you sue the city of Natchez, we steady giving you money after you done sued us. I have a problem with that.
Thank you, Alderman.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
Then I want to ask, what are the locations of the property that would,
The addresses
demolition.
are listed right there. It's Urban 12 Beaumont, 24 Beaumont, 30 North Commerce Extension, 38 North Commerce Extension, and 67 Moran.
12 Beaumont, 24 Beaumont, 34 North Commerce. Okay, how were these selected? And my reason for asking, because the process had been, whereas all the person would be able to select properties for demolition.
It's my understanding, these were brought to the board at a previous meeting, and the board voted to move forward with the demolition of properties and received quote bids.
Okay. Now, I can say, my memory serves me correct, that it was brought to the board that we would be doing some demolition, because I was looking forward to the second round of demolition of other properties in my ward, as well as others, all the persons as well. So I thought we would at least have 5 more that we would be able to select and do, and I thought that was the process.
If you'll recall, we started our adjudication over again. Our adjudication list had expired at the earlier part of this year, and we are under a new demolition. Our whole code enforcement office has been revamped, and we're following the law, that we're following everything to the letter, and this is the first round of adjudication approved through that process and approved by this board.
Mr. Mayor, may I say this?
Yes.
I understand that we've started the process over,
Mhm.
but all members of the board have not been informed of the process. I'm really trying to grasp every time we have a public hearing and other information. And when I speak to Mr. Grover, he's not able to provide me with everything that I need as far as when the meetings are going to be, when are we having the meetings? Because I would like to sit in on it so I can grasp the new process.
We've discussed that in these meetings. We have a policy where people can report dilapidated properties. All the persons can report them on the city website or by calling the mayor's office. Officer Grover investigates those. He prepares a list. We follow the state law. We've been through training. The letters go out, and then we have public hearings. To date, we've had 2 public hearings. And these properties have been legally adjudicated through the public hearing process. This board unanimously selected these for demolition at a prior meeting. Jody Rutter was instructed to have a bid process. The bid process was held. This is now the result of that bid process, and we need to vote on it. Now, if there are other properties that you would like to have adjudicated and put on a demolition list, we need to first have those reported to the mayor's office and have code enforcement go investigate and then take action. But right now, these are the only properties that we have adjudicated for demolition at this time.
Okay, and again, that's what I'm saying with the adjudication process is what I'm truly not understanding, because I know you say we started over, but if you had something from the very beginning, how is it that none of those properties are included unless,
Okay, 2 years. Mr. Attorney, would you like to explain that those properties, after a 2-year
And
time period, dropped off the
if
list?
I may just interject and say this, I do understand that, but you still have the paperwork from previous times. Why is it that we wouldn't re-adjudicate those properties even with having a new person in that position?
I think many of them are being re-adjudicated. We ask, there have been, oh my goodness, we lose count of the ones since we started the new process. We've had so many reported, and Officer Grover is staying very busy. But I think right now we could talk about this more if you have questions. But right now the motion is to accept the bid, the low bid on these properties in the amount of $26,622, and we need to go ahead and have action on that and not spend so much as describing the overall process. Any questions you have of that just simply we'll be happy to go back over the process. But right now we need to have this motion approved because we need to move on.
I just want to say this and we can move on. I'm not asking you to explain the overall process. This is not only for me, but for the public as well.
Yeah.
Because we're the ones who received the call saying that the overgrowth, the grass and the weeds, and why has it not been? Previously it has, and I have asked them to call, but it seems like it's a very slow process.
You call,
I
you
have
go
asked them to call.
just put on the list, we
Okay.
adjudicate, we have the public hearing, and now we're approving a round for demolition.
Okay.
I mean, that's just how it works. Yeah, okay, the question's been called.
Over there that I get calls on
The
right now.
question's been
We have
called.
about 10.
We'll proceed to
Are
a
you
vote.
aware of that?
I'm sorry. And I will say, we act on every call we get. We've had 2 public hearings already. All of this has been described. And if you want to have a refresher, just go back and watch the meetings because all of this has been fully discussed and described numerous times over the last few months. At this time, the question's been called. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. We will now move to the next item. Mr. Johnston.
I do want to clarify, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, this is a motion to demo the properties and award,
Yes.
just making
That's
sure of
correct.
that.
Yes, we have just accepted that bid. Would y'all like to go back and have a roll call vote?
Yes, let me clarify something whilst we're here. What I'm clarifying is, I'm not against the demolition, but I'm against as I stated earlier, I am the low bidder. The low bidder,
Okay.
I'm not gonna call it a name. I do have issues, like I said, with any time we get sued, the city of Natchez gets sued, and we turn around giving people these business. I think it's taking, stealing taxpayers' money. That's just my opinion. I don't think we should be doing business with it.
Okay. Thank you, Alderman. We'll move on. Next item.
Request for quote bid, roof repair, Natchez City Auditorium, funding from the city's 2022 Convention Center Complex Bond. Quote bids were received in the clerk's office until 2:00 p.m. on Thursday, August 17th. A summary of the bids as follows. 3 contractors were solicited, 2 did respond. You see their respective base bids. At alternate number 1, which was exterior masonry work, and you see the low bid of Malone Roofing Services LLC. It is the recommendation of staff in concert with the city's consulting architect, Whitecap and Associates, to award the contract to Malone Services LLC, including the base bid and at alternate.
Right. What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion made by
Second.
Alderman Davis made the motion. Alderwoman Hall has seconded the motion. Discussion.
This is the second round bid that we had.
This is the first time we have done this, Mr. Operator.
Okay.
First time.
And so, we were going to attempt to begin on the roof repair, but we had to get some access to the rear of the building, which we had to utilize. We had to go to the property owner behind it. We got that permission. Now we'll be able to proceed. And once we accept this, then roof repair should start
October. We have
All
an
right.
agreement
And
in
this will be
place.
the first step toward the renovation of the city auditorium. All right. We'll call for the question. Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Mr. Johnston.
On behalf of Mr. Dollar, Natchez Public Works Department, purchase of 22-foot tilt and go tandem axle trailer. 2 quotes were requested and received for the listed trailer. They are from Alpha Trailer and Truck Specialties LLC, $17,829.36. And MC Trailer Sales Inc., $15,525. Mr. Dollar is requesting a motion to accept the low bid of MC Trailer Sales Inc.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderman Maroney. Any discussion?
I wish Mr.
Alderman
Dollar,
Frazier,
I
you're
wish, he's
recognized.
not, is Mr. Dollar here?
He's
No,
not.
sir.
I wish he was here, but okay.
Okay.
No further.
All right, thank you. We'll call for the question. Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Purchase a 14-foot dump trailer with 4-foot sides. 2 quotes were requested and received for the listed trailer. They are MC Trailer Sales Inc., $12,400. Alpha Trailer and Truck Specialties LLC, $12,520. Mr. Dollar is requesting a motion to accept the low bid of MC Trailer Sales Inc.
What's the
So
pleasure?
move.
Second.
Alderwoman Irving made the motion, seconded by Alderman Maroney. We'll have discussion.
I just wanted to ask.
Alderwoman Irving.
Yes, sir. Did he explain the need of these, or are we replacing trailers, or
I do not know.
you do not know?
My assumption is that they are needed. I don't know if-
Okay. Okay.
That was.
They are needed and we have the funds in the budget for
They
the
are budgeted,
purchase.
yeah.
That is why I wanted to be here to explain, because I wanted to ask them, these trails we want for hauling, tree limbs and stuff. That's why you don't know.
I cannot answer that question.
That's why, okay,
All right.
thank you.
All right, we'll call for the question. Call. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, Mr. Johnson. Chief Arrington, you're recognized.
Good evening, afternoon, everybody.
Good
Hello,
evening.
good to see you, Chief.
Good evening.
Hey, Chief, before you start, I just want to say thank you to you and all of your firefighters. In this heat, you have been out there fighting fires, saving structures, houses, and saving lives. Just last night, there were 2 fires in the county. The city responded to both. The city got them under control. And one of those could have been really devastating on the north end of town. And I believe 10 firefighters, yourself included, were out there. I just want to give a shout out of thanks to our firefighters, because when you're out there in full gear in this 100-degree weather, it's a dangerous situation. And so we're just grateful for what you're doing. But we want to ask our citizens to be mindful that we have a real dangerous situation on our hands. We have dry conditions, grass all over town and all over the county. And, just a cigarette, just some careless activity, even while you're grilling, anything could situation. And it is always the firefighters that then bear the greatest risk, because they have to go out. And so please work with us to exercise caution, just to exercise some common sense. And until we get through this, to just be very careful. We should be careful all the time. I just had to get that out.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I am here today. Back in May, we had the proposal for our agreement with the county. You guys wanted to take it under advisement. This agreement expires next month, September. So I wanted to make sure that we were able to get our proposal over to the county now during budget cycle, and so we can try to have an agreement before October 1st, before this agreement expires.
All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderwoman.
Chief, have you spoken directly with the county, had a meeting with them already on this, or you
No,
just?
ma'am. I have not. This is, I wanted to get approval from you.
I know we've had a meeting. I'm asking, have you communicated with them, sat down with them and talked about this renewal?
No, I have not, because I wanted to get approval from this board about what I'm asking for. And then once you guys approve what we're asking for, I will gladly.
I will say this, however, today I have talked to Supervisor Ricky Gray, Supervisor West Middleton, County Attorney Scott Slover, and I have agreed on behalf of the city to having a meeting very soon for the purpose of doing 2 things: discussing the fire agreement and also discussing 911. Also today, I had a nice conversation with Ms. Annette Fells and also Sheriff Patton with regard to the 911 center that we know is in a very unsatisfactory location. And so it has been suggested that the county may be paying less than their share on the fire agreement. Well, it has also been said that the city may need to pay more on 911. I would like to see what the numbers actually are. And I actually hope that that very soon we will be able to see a budget from the county that shows exactly what 911 is costing without any emergency management or any other county activities thrown in that budget. I just want to see what the true budget is for 911. And then we already know what our budget is for the fire services. And I think we're going to need to just meet and talk about both of these at the same time. And the city step up, do the right thing, the county step up, do the right thing, and let's move forward. So I just wanted to give that update. Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad that you're giving that update, and Fire Chief, I want to applaud you because this is something that the late Alderman Dan Dillon, whose heart was set on this for this increase, and it was his belief that we were due more than what we're doing in providing fire protection. And I know that you and Alderman Davis, y'all been doing y'all best to try to get this done. But we as a city, we do provide excellent fire service for the county and the city, and we should be paid. Now, the other situation, 911, I hope this is not a tit for tat. I'm just saying it's not. I mean, I hope it's not a tit for tat, but I'm also thinking that we as a city have been paying our share of 911. So if not, would someone correct me and say if I'm wrong or not? But I think that we have been doing that. So in the best interest of the city and the county, I do think that we should get together and have a meeting and iron this out in the best interest of the citizens of Natchez, Adams County, and the citizens of Natchez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you,
I
Alderman.
just want to add one more
Alderwoman
thing.
Holt.
I would just like to remind Natchez and Adams County that Chief Arrington and his men and women cover 480 square miles,
462 square.
462 square
miles.
miles
County, yes.
of fire protection.
Largest area in the state, oldest fire department in the state. And may I say that in these two fires that were in the county last night, it was 100% city personnel and city equipment that put them out. And
Y'all give me.
So what are you asking for a vote on this?
so, yeah,
I'm asking, yes, for a vote.
we
on
took this under advisement.
And he can propose.
And so right now, I just need a motion to approve the fire chief's recommendation
We need.
for this interlocal agreement renewal.
Mr.
It's basically approving the fire services interlocal agreement renewal proposal
Excuse me,
with Adams.
Excuse me.
Get his hand up.
All right.
Ms. Kelly.
Yes, Mr. Callaway, yes. All right, Alderman Davis, I think you made a motion. Alderman Maroney seconded it. So we do have a motion. Any more discussion?
Do we have a copy of the proposal?
It should be in your package.
Isn't it?
Oh, let me see.
All right, motion has been made. We'll call for the question. All right, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you. I just wanted to say here, I am very proud of everyone at the fire department for the job that they did last night. I had people show up off duty just because they heard it was going on. They heard me go out. Other people got up and started rolling. So I want to say I'm proud of these guys and commend them for the work that they did in those conditions last night. Two big fires that was really taxing on everybody, but they knocked it out and did a great job. So big ups to my guys.
One more thing, Mr. Mayor. I think
Thank you. Yes,
I'm not sure
Alderwoman Hall.
with these fires, I think the governor has placed Adams County
Yes,
as one of
Adams
many
County is
counties
a
under
complete burn ban. Yes.
until further notice. We're included in the governor
Thank you.
plan.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item, I'm going to have to step out. I am going to have to recuse myself from the discussion on the short-term rental ordinance at the advice of the attorney due to the fact that I do own a short-term rental in the city. And so I will recuse myself. Please let me know when I can return. And in my absence,
Excuse me,
I'm
Mr.
going
Mayor.
to hand the gavel over
Mis-
to Alderman.
Excuse me, excuse me.
Yes, Alderman.
Before you handle the gavel
Yeah.
over, you just can't, it's in the charter, you just can't handle the gavel over to anybody. It got to be voted on by the government body. In the absence of the mayor and the mayor pro tem, it should be voted on by who's gonna run the meeting as mayor pro tem. Section 2
Board
of the
governs.
city charter.
If the board wants to vote, the board can vote.
The board
Exactly.
wants to vote? Well, at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
I mo-
Entertain a motion.
I mo- make,
What's the motion?
What is the motion?
I make a motion that either myself, Ms. Urban, Alderman Davis run the meeting.
So move.
I,
A second.
that's, I need a more specific motion.
Well, I like to make a
I'm
motion,
sorry.
I like to make a motion that Alderman Davis run the meeting.
No, you need to make the motion
I like-
with him the
Recusing
mayor
himself.
recusing himself from the meeting and that Alderperson be appointed to run.
In the absence of the mayor recusing himself from the meeting, I like to make a motion that Alderman Davis run the meeting in
All
the
right.
absence of the mayor.
You've made that motion, then we'll honor that
I
motion.
second.
It has been seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion. We'll call for the question. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right. Well, we'll have a roll call vote. Alderwoman Hall,
Nay.
Alderman Frazier,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis, Alderman Maroney. The ayes have it, motion carries. Well, I'm going to hand this over to Alderman Davis. Thank you so much. I will be out with you.
No, you're not. I had this.
But not too far.
Mhm.
All right. Let's see here now. All right, next thing on the agenda is Franklin Legovich, Richard will be standing in her place on the short-term rental ordinance.
Yes, planning staff had a general question and answering meeting with interested parties on Wednesday, August 22nd, 2023, here in the council chambers. The meeting was open to the public. Information regarding the meeting was in the Natchez Democrat as well as posted on social media. Other interested parties were notified of the meeting. Planning is requesting approval of the short-term rental ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
It's on the table, right? Y'all tabled this last time.
Yes,
We
it
did.
was tabled, yeah.
Somebody
Move to
needs to
remove it
move,
from the
take it off the table.
Remove.
I need a motion so somebody take it
off the table.
So moved.
Call who made that.
Alderwoman Hall made the motion, and Alderman Village O'Fraser made second.
All right,
This motion put on for the,
So,
so
now,
do anybody oppose?
any,
no opposed.
Call for the question.
Call.
Now, need to vote on it. Need a motion.
So the roll call
I
vote.
need a roll call.
A roll call vote.
all right, this is to take it off.
Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Fraser,
Aye.
Alderman Irvin,
Aye.
Maroney.
Aye.
Motion passed. Oh, I can't vote.
No, you can't
I
vote.
think you could vote.
You can vote legally. You
No,
can
no,
he
vote.
can't.
He can't.
Not-
He
not-
can't,
when
he
you're in
can't, he's
charge.
acting man pro tem.
I read
He's acting pro tem.
passed.
He cannot vote, I don't care what you say. He cannot vote. It's in the city charter, read the city charter.
Off the table.
Oh,
Does
sorry.
anybody
He can't
want
vote,
any
he's
further
acting mayor pro
discussion?
It's
tem.
all in favor. Anybody want any further discussion?
Well, I just want to thank,
Call the
I
question.
do. I just want to say I want to thank the citizens for coming forward and calling with your concerns. We as alderpersons are here to meet your needs. So again, thank you for addressing that and getting this resolved where we can move forward with adopting an ordinance of the short-term rental. So thank you.
My main purpose was, when we started from the beginning, I wanted to get everybody input, and I got everybody input, and they were satisfied with what you put forward.
Call the mayor back in.
All right, you can call.
Wait.
No, we have not.
We have to vote?
No, we gotta.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept this new order.
Oh, yeah, we didn't make, yeah, we did.
So moved.
Alderman Barone made the motion,
And, I'm afraid to make that one.
All right, this,
For
on the
what?
motion we took off the table. Now,
On the motion to accept the ordinance.
okay. All right. Call.
Call for the question.
Call.
I would like to say one thing before the question is called.
Okay.
The purpose of public hearings is that we get the public input. So I would ask the public in the future, when there are public hearings, to make yourselves available for the legally required public hearings.
Call for the question.
Oh,
Call for the question already.
Roll call.
Roll call vote. Alderman Hall.
aye.
Alderman Frazier.
Aye.
Alderman Irving.
Aye.
Alderman Ronnie.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mark.
Mayor.
You did a good job as a mayor. You did a good job as a mayor.
Think what he said.
Yeah.
You gotta get together.
Okay.
Ben,
Oh, yes, sir.
you got to give me a report, Ben.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
motion passed.
All right.
With the lease, short term.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Alderman Davis. Thank you. We now have city official reports. Alderwoman Hall.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I would like to thank you for your talking points that you did publish in the Democrat as to where we are with our projects.
Yeah.
And I think the public appreciated that very much. So thank you for doing
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
I'd also like to thank the Natchez National Park Service for their news release, where it stated that tourism to the Natchez National Historical Park contributed to $4,272,000 to the local economy. And I think about 5,284 came here to us. I want to thank them for that report and for what they do, not only for the nation, but also for the local citizens. I've also had the AED and CPR training on the 7th, along with other city personnel, and we should be getting our certification cards soon about that. And I'd also like to say that last night I did receive a call, and I did inform the mayor and the police that there were 2 individuals going around the city acting as if they were working in concert with the city, working on Adler security systems, and that is a fraud. So just I want the public to be aware of that. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it's gonna be short. I attended the Mississippi Policy Conference in Tunica, Mississippi, which is headed by Congressman Benny Thompson. And also that the elected officials in the state, Representative Robert Johnson, the mayor of Jackson. Congressman Thompson was talking about what is coming to Southwest Mississippi and what he's planning on doing. And also it was some representative that's from the USDA in reference to grants and what kind of grants that can be obtained. I was sitting down talking to a young lady, and she was telling me about grants. I really didn't know who she was until afterwards. She was one of the guest speakers. Her name was Jennifer Reason, but then to come to find out, her name was Jennifer Clyburn Reason. It was Jim Clyburn's daughter, and she was stated that they have $20 million in USDA grants that they're gonna have to get the issue out in the southwest part of the United States, like Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Texas, and Louisiana. So there's grant money out there be available. I do have a number to get in touch with it, and I'll get it to James and see, can he get in touch and see what is available for us. So that is, Mr. Mayor, that is the end of my report.
That's great. Thank you so much. We'll call on Alderwoman Irving for her report.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to begin with saying that I attended a meeting this past Saturday. It was a community meeting on gun violence, and it was well attended. I also want to say that was a great think tank meeting that we had. We're going to come back together and meet very soon in the near future. It was great to see and hear the input from community members that had attended the meeting. And so I'm looking forward to the next meeting. I want to ask, it was open to the general public, that we all, if you are available, to please come and attend. It was held at Congressman Thompson's office in the Ombudsman building at 8 Linda Drive. And so another meeting is in the very near future. So hopefully we will get that information ahead of time and try to prepare to attend the next meeting. Also, Mr. Mayor, there will be a mobile food drive. That's going to be September 1st at Macedonia Baptist Church. I'll have to come back with the time. So I will put that on my Facebook page. I'll share that information as best I can, and with the city website as well, when the mobile food drive will be. But again, that's going to be September 1st at Macedonia Baptist Church, 33 Minor Street. And Mr. Mayor, that ends my report.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Davis,
I
your
will be
report.
even shorter. Today I attended, the mayor and Ms. Alderman Hall attended, President Dwayne Middleton, reception at Colin today. And it was nice. A lot of board members from the county and Colin board attended. And I want the public to be aware of the heat that we got going on. Make sure you drink plenty of water, Gatorade, and stay safe and stay out the sun. That ends my report.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Maroney?
All I'd like to say is, I'd like to remind everyone here and everyone watching about that burn ban. I've been on the wrong end of learning something that at the wrong time, you don't want to be there. So pay attention to it. That's it for me.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
I just want to also say too, Mr. Mayor, within the last couple of days, I've had a lot of people call and they're doing the home test of the COVID. They've been positive. So I just want to remind people, if you're in a large crowd, I know it's your option, but let's stay safe and let's keep our family safe as well. Just want to remind them, COVID numbers are up.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes,
I
Alderwoman.
left one item off my report. I have a meeting, I've met with every judge here in the city about, and our superintendent, about how we can potentially help our youth regarding violence as well as guns. And I'll keep you all abreast of those meetings and what the outcome of that's going to be.
Okay.
I've met with every judge and the superintendent.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, City Clerk. Madam Clerk, your report.
All right. First item is request for approval of the 2nd August 2023 claims docket.
What's the pleasure of the
So
board?
moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman
Second.
Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I just had a few
Alderwoman
things I'm just
Irving.
inquiring about. Yeah, let's see. Okay, on page 9,
Yes.
Cleveland County Board of Supervisors, there was an invoice. Do we know what that is? From Cleveland County Board of Supervisors, invoice in July.
I'll be happy to look that invoice up, but off the top of my head, I do not.
Okay. I also have another question. We have from the police department, and I've seen it on several departments, but it was plaques. Are those plaques that are given to
For retirement.
employees or
Retirement.
retirement? Okay. All right. And the collisions, it's on page 11. Is that 2 police cars that we've had? with
That's
damage?
correct.
Okay. Those been reported, I guess.
One was a deer and the other was, they're very minor.
Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
the nature of the
Well, good,
accident,
good,
but
good.
those were two.
Very,
And
very
no
minor.
injuries?
No,
That's good.
very, very little damage, actually.
Okay.
Everything's just so expensive these days.
Okay. And that ends my report.
All right. All right. Any other comments about discussion about the docket? We'll call for the
Well, there was
question.
one other, Mr.
Oh, certainly. What?
It was on page
What else?
41. What's
Okay.
the, and this is a question, what's the city championship prize? And that's on page 41.
That is a golf tournament.
Okay, so that's the winner? Is that for the winner?
Yes, the trophy.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to be clear.
All right.
That ends it.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Mhm.
We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Okay, second item is request for approval of the second August 2023 mini claims docket.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion.
What was that? No, no discussion.
Okay. We'll call for the question. We'll call for the question.
Call.
Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item I have is, Mr. Rudder received 2 quotes for a new 5-ton split system air conditioning unit, with a 5-ton heater and coil, vent pipe, condenser for the roof, labor and crane costs for, the replacement of a unit at the police department. You will see on my report the 2 quotes that were received. And Mr. Rudder is requesting approval of the purchase of the new unit and the additional parts and labor and crane expenses from Miss Lou Air Conditioning is the low and best bid.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion. Call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is Mr. Tipton with the Natchez Convention Center provided the attached list of AV equipment that he would like to have purchased for the convention center. Multiple items for a total of $26,457.78, and to have these purchased through the convention center upgrade portion of the bond.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall and seconded by Alderwoman Irving. It's my understanding that this is very important to maintain up-to-date, state-of-the-art audiovisual equipment for all of the conferences we are hosting and the many that are coming. And we are excited about the improvements underway at the convention center. Thank you, Mr. Tipton, for all the great work you and your staff are doing. Motion has been made. Is there any discussion? We'll call.
Just want to say it's time.
It is
It's time for the update.
It is.
Mhm.
Call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Okay, next item is actually going to be split into 2 requests. Recently, the board approved the purchase of 2 pieces of equipment for Public Works. The first being a 2023 John Deere wheel loader for the amount of $242,090.20. I've received financing quotes for this equipment. Provided that spreadsheet prior to the meeting, and requesting approval to finance these through Delta Bank, who was the lowest and best quote.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving and seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion. We'll call for the question.
Call.
Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Okay,
Next item.
second piece of equipment was the 2024 tandem axle dump truck for $180,000. Again, these quotes have been provided and we are requesting for approval to finance also through Delta Bank for the lowest and best quote.
So moved.
So move.
All right, motion made by Alderwoman Irving and seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion?
Call
We'll
the
call for the
question.
question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. All opposed, nay.
No.
The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Okay.
Next item.
Final item is request for travel for myself and Miss Caroline Deason to the Mississippi SHRM Conference in Biloxi, September 25th through 27th.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderman Davis. The SHRM, that is the Human Resource.
That's correct, Society for Human Resource Management.
This is, just furthering your education in human resource issues, which are big issues these days. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Madam Clerk, I think that's all you had on your
That
report.
Does conclude my
Then
report.
you have provided a first draft of the city budget.
Yes, I provided that for you all to review. Also attached to the front of that are the dates for the work session that has been scheduled for Tuesday of next week at 5 p.m. Public hearing that has been scheduled for September 5th at 6 p.m. And then the hope would be able to approve the budget at the September 12th board meeting. I did have several late submissions. There will be a second draft coming to you all later this week. Just kind of limited time in getting all of those in, but this will give you kind of the bulk of what we're looking at.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
I would just ask all department heads to please get your information in timely
Yes.
to Ms. McKenzie, because we do have to pass our budget in September for October 1, new fiscal year. So please get it in a timely manner.
Okay.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
And I just want to ask, since we've scheduled our public hearing, will we please have extra copies? Let's do 50 copies or more for the public, general public to have out. So when they come, they will have input and be able to see as well.
We'll have ample copies.
Thank you.
I just want for clarification, do we need a motion for that public?
I got a question.
The schedule
We,
of public hearing and advertise?
We have in the past.
okay. Well, then I would request a motion to set the public hearing for September 6th. I'm sorry. Well, the work session.
September 5th.
Yeah. Do we need a motion for the work session?
Well, we don't. No, we can do the work section as a special call meeting,
Okay.
which I will do from my office, but we do need a motion for the public hearing.
So moved.
September 5th. That
Second.
motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Maroney. Any discussion? We'll call for the question. Proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, before we
Yes,
move on,
Alderwoman Irving.
did we say the work session would be open to the public as well?
It will be a
They all
public
are.
meeting.
Okay.
They all
Okay. All right. I'm just
And,
asking.
and
for
I'm going
clarity.
to ask, Mr. Burke, if you would, let's go ahead and get a special notice of, our, work session meeting for 5 p.m. That will be a meeting of the entire board, so we need to have a special notice, issued, and you might as well send it tomorrow. All right? Thank you, Madam Clerk. Well, last but not least, I hope the mayor's report, because I don't think the city attorney's got anything.
City Attorney's got one thing. Mr.
You do,
Mayor.
huh? You're surprised.
I don't mean to surprise you, but today at 5 o'clock, I almost had a public hearing on our sound ordinance. We set this a while back, but then we ran into a conflict and y'all couldn't attend. So we need to just reset that, and we can reset it for the second meeting in September. That's also going to be at one of the meetings where we adjudicate properties, or you can move it to the first week in October, whatever the board pleasure, but we need a motion to set that so we can publish for it.
All right. What is
First week in
the
October.
what is the pleasure of the board?
I agree.
I'm entertaining a motion here.
First week in
Alderman-
September.
First week in October.
I'm sorry.
October.
October,
Yeah.
all right. Alderman Davis has made, I think he made that motion. Alderwoman Hall has seconded that motion. Any discussion?
It's October 10th.
October 10th at 6 p.m. That will be at the
Please,
time of
please
our,
attend. That is a public hearing.
that will be at the
Any
time of
comments?
our meeting.
That would
That's
be
the
morning
first
I'm
meeting,
sorry.
that's the 11 o'clock meeting.
Thank you. I don't have my calendar and I need someone to tell me. The motion needs to tell what time it will be.
That would be 11 o'clock meeting.
Well, in that case, the public hearing would have to be after hours. We
So we
don't
would
do
have
public
the
hearing.
second month. the second
So I
meeting
would
of
go to the second meeting of October and, or the second meeting of September, either one.
It'll always be with the
Yeah, the public hearing,
conference.
So,
second meeting, and you're not here the first meeting on the 12th.
yeah, so the second meeting of October,
Make the motion.
Alderman Davis has
5:30.
clarified his motion to be the second meeting of October at 6.
No. About 5:30 p.m.
6 o'clock.
I think we need to keep our public hearings at the time of this meeting to avoid confusion. We've been playing around with that. People will come or have to come late. So 6 p.m.
Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Davis, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
And Alderwoman Hall has seconded the motion. We'll call for the question.
Carl?
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
That's October
That-
24th.
That is the second meeting of the month, October 24th. All right, public hearing. Anyone wanting to read the proposed noise ordinance, it is available on the city website. All right. All right, thank you. We already have had our update on health. I also was going to echo what Alderman Davis said. I am so excited about President Dwayne Middleton. He is from Southwest Mississippi. He grew up in Bude, Mississippi. He is a product of the Franklin County Public Schools. He attended Colin, played basketball there. He also went on to Sanford University. He completed his bachelor's study at University of Southern Mississippi. I believe he ended up with his master's at Alcorn and his doctorate at Mississippi State University. It was such a pleasure meeting his mother, family, his wife, son. We are all so very proud to have really one of our own to be the new president of Colin, and he has expressed great love and support for the Natchez campus. He has been someone who's at every event already, and so we're just so grateful. I also want to give a shout out to the sheriff's department and our police department. They are working closer together than I think they ever have before. And proof of that is the rapid solution to the terrible crime that occurred here a week ago last Thursday. And our hearts go out to the family, the friends of these young men who were victims of such a heinous crime just north of town in the county that occurred on the evening of a Thursday just a week or so ago. And in just a week's time, the crime was solved and all of the suspects are now in custody. And I want to give a shout out to Justice, she is the Justice Court Judge, Audrey Minor, for realizing that the time for tough bonding is here. And she placed a $2 million bond on those murder suspects and the accessory suspect a $1 million bond. I think that is a step in the right direction. But I also want to remind everyone, if you will look back and you will see the individuals implicated in this case were violent offenders already. One of them actually was on the street and had been implicated in a murder in Fayette just last October. We need to, again, remind everyone, especially our judges and those in our system, that when violent individuals are brought to jail, that's where they need to stay. And if they are released and another crime occurs like these crimes, then it is a horrible thing to imagine that that blood could be on your hands. I know that there are probably those now wishing that these individuals had not been allowed to be bonded out, be back on our streets, only to commit these murders just a week and a half ago. This is serious. This is serious. And I just want to applaud our law enforcement for working so hard to put violent people in jail. And I want to say to all others, they need to stay there. And if there is any reasoning you can find to put a violent person back out on our streets, then you better be willing to justify it, because I see no justification in putting violent people out on the streets of Natchez. We're making progress also because people are trusting us. Crime Stoppers is working, and I want to thank the public for not standing back as they did in the past, but instead stepping forward to help solve this crime. The more crimes we solve, the safer our community is. And it sends a message to those who think they can get away with murder. Think again. In Natchez, Adams County, those days are behind us. I had to say that while I could. Now, we had a great meeting in New Jersey last week. The airport conference was another success. This one was the best one in terms of the best quality of meetings. I believe that we are getting closer and closer to having commercial air service reestablished in Natchez after a 30-year absence. It has been a tough thing, though, because there's pilot shortage. There are all kinds of challenges to airlines. And right now, in fact, there are airlines that have been going under, being bought by others, resulting in more shortages of not only pilots, but planes. Southern Airways still wants to be in Natchez. We met with them last week, and they would like to see this happen by spring of 2024. That would be great, but we aren't leaving it there. We had meetings with other airlines, and I'm not going to go into the details just yet. It's a little too early, but we do have one major CEO of an airline ready to have a site visit to Natchez in September. He was so impressed with our presentation. I also want to say this: the shortage is real, not only in pilots, but also airplanes, because I actually had to take a very nice bus for the last leg of my travel to Atlantic City, New Jersey. In leaving Atlantic City, I sat at the airport for 2 or 3 hours waiting on a very nice bus to arrive to take me to Philadelphia. And there was not a single plane that landed or took off at that airport during that time period. And so understanding that established airports are having these struggles right now, it underscores just how good it is that we are still in the conversation for commercial air to be restored here in Natchez. A lot of that's due to Richard Nelson, who has worked so hard as the director of our airport in bringing grant funds and getting a new runway and getting new lights, LED lights for the runway, and getting new Wi-Fi. And I want to applaud the Board of Supervisors and the Airport Commission for supporting financially in all of these endeavors. But I also want to applaud the city because we have been supporting too. Also, Jeremiah Gerald, who is the consultant, was there in every meeting with us last week, and he's working on other plans. And we are still working on a strategy that would work to make it possible to fly cruise passengers into Natchez. We haven't given up on all of this, but at Alderwoman Hall, as you said, my article this weekend said we're kind of in a hurry up and wait mode on several things, this being one of them, but we do ask for patience. Also, I had a very productive conversation today with Mr. Rob Lubin, the owner of the Yola Hotel. There are a number of transactions being made, money coming in, and design plans are underway. I expressed to Mr. Lubin that it is our desire to get more information out into the public very soon. And he said to start with, understanding that the city is very much involved here, both in terms of not adjudicating that property, but rather being patient in what we expect to be its development, but also in considering strategies to utilize bonding as we have for other projects such as the Holiday Inn and the Grand Hotel. For this project, that he is open to having a Zoom meeting along with the development team very soon with every member of this board in executive session to discuss those bonding strategies and some things that have to do with confidential development partnership agreements. And I wanted to go ahead and make that announcement tonight. We almost put together a Zoom call tonight, but there was a member of the development team that could not participate. So we will be scheduling that very soon. And it is our hope that after that, we will soon be seeing a timeline form and public talking points that can be then shared with the public. I am leaving in a few minutes for Jackson, actually Flowood, to be there for the workforce training convention. The Momentum Mississippi Conference is being held in Jackson area, even as we speak. And I'm excited about progress we're making in the terms of workforce development. And I'm excited about being at that conference. Tawana Williams is already there. But before we end the meeting, I think I might have saved the best for last.
We hope so.
You thought I was never going to get to you, right? Devin Heath and sitting with him, by the way, Mickey Holly, we appreciate everything y'all are doing. DNA, Visit Natchez. We have a very important building downtown called the Depot. We've been very patient with this project.
Mr. Mayor, I think Mr. Maroney needs to recuse
I was
himself.
just about to say,
Okay.
as a, Visit Natchez is a client of mine.
Yes.
I should probably recuse myself for any discussion or anything.
We are about to talk about a partnership with Visit Natchez in this venture. And so being that they're a client of yours, we will acknowledge your
Reconvene
recusal.
after this, or should I just?
We're going to make it, you can go. This is the last item and we'll give you a call and tell you how it goes.
All right, we got enough votes to adjourn.
We've got enough votes to adjourn.
Okay.
All right. We'll wait.
I moved pretty quick.
I know how you feel. I've had to do that a lot lately.
I didn't want to hang around outside and then just come back in.
Have a good evening, all.
Thanks, Curtis.
Thank you.
You're client of mine too.
Yeah, we're not gonna let you off.
Hold on, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Y'all, I am so excited about this. When we came into office, the city had already contracted with an entity and plans were underway to develop a restaurant at the historic depot. That at one time seemed to be such a great thing. But the economy, COVID challenges, it just became evident, as we all know, that was not going to happen. So we went to Plan B. And that Plan B, realizing that the city is seeing a wonderful growth in tourism. And at the same time, we have just announced the great news that the historic, National Historic Park has received major funding for a major renovation of the interior of the visitor center. We just received that word recently, but also that is going to require the visitor center to close for an indefinite period of time very soon. Well, we've been working, as everyone knows, for several months on a strategy to open a downtown visitor center that would be a permanent visitor center downtown for years to come in the southern half of the historic depot on Broadway. We have contracted with Johnny Waycaster to be the architect. We have also successfully received a grant from the Mississippi Department of Archives and History for the historic renovation of the southern half and the completion of the exterior of the entire structure. The city has matched generously to that grant, and we are within a couple weeks of being able to approve the final plans for the visitor center and to proceed to bidding for that project. So the city, we are ready to complete the project and get it ready to service a visitor center. At the same time, we recently approved and will soon put out an RFP, request for proposals, on the north end, allowing individuals, organizations to respond for what the future use of the northern half should be. So right now, we're only talking about the southern half and the operation of a visitor center. By law, Natchez has an established tourism arm, our NCPC, Natchez Convention Promotion Commission. And we know this as Visit Natchez. They are the marketing arm for our city, and they are established by law to be a neutral marketing arm for tourism in Natchez and to be there to serve all of Natchez and to be there as the city's tourism engine. We can think of no one in this city qualified for operating a visitor center than our own Visit Natchez. And so Visit Natchez has provided a proposal to the city for a joint venture. And that joint venture would mean that the city completes the physical renovation, and then Visit Natchez comes in, provides the equipment, the furnishings to have a state-of-the-art tourism center, visitor center there, open 6 days a week from 9 to 5, fully staffed, with public restrooms, with a kiosk, with ticket selling apparatus, and also with great visual displays on all the tourism opportunities we have in Natchez. Included also will be a small viewing theater and a new Natchez movie that the city and Visit Natchez will partner in producing, and Visit Natchez already has the funds for that movie set aside as a result of funds appropriated for them and for this project during the tricentennial. And so I'm just basically giving this in a very quick overview. Mr. Heath, if you want to fill in the blanks, but we're going to be ready to make a motion in a minute, and I will recognize that motion. I know you're ready to make it, Alderwoman Hall. Let me just say, this is going to be a new day for Natchez. It's going to be a visitor center that is neutral ground downtown for all of our tourists and citizens and tourism partners, everyone from the tour companies to the historic homes to the great venues to enjoy, and a seamless one-stop shop so tourists don't have to come to Natchez and have an Easter egg hunt every time they're trying to buy a ticket to something.
In the city.
Mr. Mayor.
And so we're about to entertain a motion, and then we'll have discussion, Alderman Frazier.
But I think don't you think we need to have a discussion before we even get a motion?
Well, no, we need a motion before we have discussion. I think everyone's pretty aware of this. Let's have, before we entertain the motion, I just want to make sure we don't have any confusion. Have I covered the bases, Mr. Heath?
Excuse me. Good evening, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. Thank you all very much. Mr. Mayor, I think I couldn't have said it any better. I'm available to answer any questions, but we are excited about this opportunity and think that will be a fantastic visitor center and one that we'll be very proud of. So I did create a couple of slides just to kind of give everyone an understanding of what our focus will be. Certainly personalized guest service, and that's going to be the center point, is making sure that we're taking care of our visitors and our residents. And doing that with a personalized guest service, that is going to be paramount. Anybody who knows me and knows my track record understands that guest service is paramount for me. And so that will be a focal point. We're also going to create a digital experience for our visitors. And as well as that personalized experience, we're also going to have digitalized opportunities via kiosks, via tablets and so forth. That we're going to have, and we're going to make it interactive so that it will make it more fun and more engaging for visitors. As the mayor mentioned, we're going to have a very informational Natchez movie that we're going to collaborate on and make sure that we're telling the whole story of Natchez from soup to nuts, and we're really excited about that. I just got back, the timing of this couldn't be better. I just got back from a conference where we had a full day symposium just on visitor centers and industry leaders in this country who are operating visitor centers and starting new styles of visitor centers and really cutting edge. Were there, as well as we had conversations with regards to the traditional model all the way up to the new, new sleek, new ideas and ideas. And so we really had really good conversation about all of that. This is just a inspirational board. We are working internally. We're going to be working with a designer to help us create the designs, the interior of the visitor center. We'll certainly share those designs, obviously, before we move forward with the board. But it's our intention to bring modern technology into a traditional early 20th century setting to pay homage to the origination. And I believe Alderman Hall had brought that up yesterday, to bring, keeping mind the style and the setting of what we have, but bringing in modern technology into that environment. And certainly, like I said, very focused guest service into that experience. And I'm just available for any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you. Alderman Paul, I'll recognize your motion.
I move that the Board of Aldermen approve that Mr. Callaway get with the attorney for Visit Natchez to begin the process of developing documents for the partnership between the city and Visit Natchez for the south end of the depot.
A second.
All right. Seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion, Alderman Frazier, I recognize you.
Yes. My concern is how much do we know how much it's gonna cost the city?
That's the beautiful part. We've already budgeted our part, and that's the renovation.
Yeah, I'm saying how much is the renovation costing?
The complete renovation, I don't have to, we've been through that so many times, and Mr. Johnson left. But
I know we got a grant.
I don't have that.
Okay.
I don't have that in front of me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We're focused on the
Okay.
partnership with Visit Natchez at
Okay.
this point,
Just-
because we've already approved the bid. The budget for the project, the grant. We will have that for you soon when we get ready to bid the construction project. Do you have it, Madam?
The total project budget is actually $266,667. But of course, not 100% of that is the city's cost. I don't have that
About
exact breakdown.
150,000 of that is the grant, I believe.
That's correct. So I
Okay.
don't have the exacts, but to kind of give an idea that, and all of it is, yes, in the budget already approved a while back.
Thank you.
Let
Yes.
me say
When I
it.
say the beauty of it is they're taking care of the operation and furnishing.
We're just getting the document. That's what the motion is for.
Let me say this, Mr. Mayor.
Started.
Yeah, Alderman Gray.
Darren, I just want to say this to you. I'm glad that you called me, and I did go down and sit down and talk to you, and you explained, said the mayor, everything that the mayor was talking about, I already know about it. And I, like I said, I'm glad that you called and talked to me. And I told you, this is the first time someone ever just called me down and sit down and explain to me. And I am really on board with this. And I know that when this get up and done, that I know that's gonna be this welcome center, this visitor center gonna include all kinds of diversity and everything and dealing with the history of Natchez. So that's very important to this community. And again, I want to thank you and your lovely staff. Not you, but your lovely staff. Because I really
look good.
I really had a nice time and that visit with you and your staff and those young ladies there. They're all down there. They're all those young ladies down there are very professional. And I want to thank you for inviting me down there and talking to me and explaining to me what's going on.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Oh, you mentioned designs. We're not gonna approve any designs until you take those archives and history.
That is correct.
This is getting the process started.
Correct, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, Alderwoman
And this
Irving.
is the cosmetic side of it, so I just wanted to ask, is that building handicap accessible, Mayor? I just want to ask. Is
Yes,
it?
and that's a good question. Everything is going to be.
Okay.
handicapped.
It will be.
It will be.
Oh,
We
okay.
did have that conversation with Mr. Waycaster, and we
Okay.
talked about making sure that it would be handicap accessible.
Yes.
One of the other things as well that I will be doing, and I've already actually started this research, I want to bring in a consultant to work with us on the front end.
Yes.
From a construction perspective, I believe you all already will be, as a facility, will be handicap accessible. We want to make sure that as an operation,
Yeah.
that we're making it accessible to people with all kinds of disabilities.
Absolutely.
Hearing impaired, visually impaired,
Awesome.
as well as physically impaired.
Awesome.
So we want to get out in front of that as we are working on the designs to make sure that everything is successful.
That's all. Now that's planning for the future.
Yes, ma'am.
That's planning for the future.
Thank you. I'll call for the question. Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you all.
It's exciting. Thank you. We now will entertain.
one question.
Yes,
What would I really cut be for the ground, for the street repair?
we are waiting on the company to commit to when they're going to start.
Okay.
And we have asked that be put on our schedule soon and at a time in the afternoon.
Thank
Heat is part of the problem. They're fighting. So let's hope so.
Mr. Mayor, one more
Yes,
question.
Alderman Fraser.
I've been inquiring about this and I hadn't heard anything about it. Ms. Owens on Inez Street, and she's calling me and she want to know when are we going to get down to her street. And as she said, I looked on the list, it wasn't on there. So I thought we was going to take care of doing that little street down off of Inez Court.
The cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
We actually are going to be looking at a few things that were included within our new budget year. Just what can we, do? And so we're not ruling out that just yet.
They did Inez Street in the project, the Daisy Street project, but they didn't go all the way down.
Right.
JKS. So this lady's been, for the longest, been trying to fight, get that little alley down there done.
Thank you so much. We'll entertain now motion to adjourn. Motion has been made, seconded by
Second.
Alderman Hall. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed indicate by saying nay, and enjoy your evening here because the rest of us are leaving. Motion passes. We are adjourned.
Here you go, man.